Welcome to Destination Animation, your trip around the world of cartoons and anime, stop motion and puppetry, special effects and CGI, and everything in between. I am your host, Carrie Dreblow.
And I'm Jason Knott.
And I'm Becca McGraw, and today we're talking about the 1994 Disney film, their 32nd animated feature film, The Lion King.
Woo! Resplendent.
Very obscure movie.
Yes, no one's heard about this one. It's very underground.
Yeah, The Lion King was a super obscure animated movie that was made, like, in a tiny little art house outside of Hollywood, but it's been passed around among animation circles, and slowly it's getting more recognition.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it's lucky that we've even seen it, considering how obscure it is.
I know. I made, $10 at the box office?
$10? Try 10 babillion.
What?
But this is, yeah, everyone knows The Lion King. It's
Yeah.
one of the most successful animated movies of all time. Still the most successful hand-drawn movie, I think, right?
Yeah, it's grossed like $400 million
Domestically.
And this was in 1994, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's not accounting for, re-releases.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking about this movie because this is my absolute favorite, not just animated movie, but my favorite movie of all time.
Holy crap.
Wow, because it's so good. And I'll tell you all why. This was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I remember it. It's one of my earliest, clearest memories. I was 3 years old, 1994.
Little Becca.
And I remember sitting in the theater. I remember the curtain opening. And I don't really remember, the actual watching of the movie, but I remember, I have that memory of it.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with this movie. Absolutely obsessed. I had so many toys. I still have, all my toys from this movie, all my merchandise. And once I got the VHS, I actually saw it twice in theaters as a kid. And once I got the VHS, just watched that thing over and over again. I'm surprised that I didn't wear it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it a lot, too.
There's two things that happened to me in 1994. My baby brother was born.
Yes.
But more importantly, The Lion King.
Yes. See, this was also my favorite movie growing up. All the way until, the middle of high school, it was my favorite movie. I'm totally not biased. I was 9 years old when this movie came out, and I was obsessed with it. I got it on VHS when I was sick that April. I watched the movie back to back 3 times in a row. And I used to play it after school with my friends where we'd each take on the part of a character and just recite the entire movie pretending that we were them. And now, even though I haven't watched this movie in 10 years, I can still recite the entire script from memory. That is how obsessed I was with it.
Yeah.
So we get to fangirl about it together, Bex.
Yay.
I was 3 months old when it came out.
Aw,
Baby.
little baby Jason.
Oh, yeah, baby, Jason, yeah. But yeah, I watched it a lot as a kid, too, and I know all the lions as well.
All the lions, you might
All
say.
the lions. They sleep tonight.
Yes.
All the lions.
Oh, man, I remember, my friends and I, we'd hang each other off the slide, Scar, brother, help me, and then we throw each other off the slide. I remember once, actually, when I was about 3 or 4, I remember I was playing on my parents' bed, and, I did a somersault off their bed, and I almost lost my eye doing this. I actually have a scar right under my eyebrow. I cut my eye open, and they rushed me to the hospital. I remember being rushed to the hospital. I don't remember anything about getting my stitches, but I remember being in the recovery room watching The Lion King.
No,
So.
nice.
Feeding your addiction.
Now you have a
Yes.
scar under your eye.
I do, like a certain other character.
Kovu.
Are you gonna kill your brother?
I might. Anyway, here's a little plot summary. I mean, everyone knows this movie, but just a little.
Just a little.
For
a little bit.
the odd person who might not have. So it takes place in Africa. It's about lions. And it's about a young lion prince named Simba, who is destined to one day rule the Pride Lands. And his uncle Scar, who's totally not suspicious and villainous,
No.
he was formerly next in line for the throne, and, he's jealous of Simba, because now he just doesn't have a chance of ever being king. So he just plots to overthrow the regime, along with his hyena underlings. Ooh.
His comic hyena underlings composed
Oh
of...
my god, when you said that for the first time, that was the first time I made the connection. Well, I was first in line until the little hairball was born. I never realized, oh my god, that was his lineage. God.
Yeah,
I can't believe I never realized that.
I mean, Scar, you could have done something about this earlier. You could have, like, had a child yourself. Well, he did. But that's going into sequels.
Killed Mufasa?
Precisely.
Yes. Oh, that's not a spoiler. Wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more.
I don't think we have to worry about spoilers with this one. Anyone who has not seen this movie, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, stop listening, go watch the movie.
Yeah, we'll still throw a spoiler warning in a little bit later while we talk about a bit
All
of production first. So this was directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff. I should have practiced that before.
Minkoff.
This is kind of the only really big thing they did for Disney, kind of. They never became like a power couple like Ron and John did, and, you know, they directed The Little Mermaid and everything, and several others. Very well... What's that?
I don't think they even, like, collaborated much after this.
I don't think they collaborated at all. I'm not sure, though.
Like, even the guys who made Beauty and the Beast collaborated for Hunchback of Notre Dame, but, like, I don't think these two ever met forces again. And Atlantis, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's because they went with Jeffrey Katzenberg to DreamWorks.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Speaking of DreamWorks, the head of story on this movie was Brenda Chapman, who went on to direct Prince of Egypt, which is a brilliant movie that we definitely got to talk about.
Brilliant movie.
One of my favorite animated movies of all time, yes.
Definitely. That's going to get its own episode. And what's kind of funny about The Lion King, it's so well remembered now and everyone loves it, but it went into production at the same time as Pocahontas. And between the two, it was kind of considered the lesser project. A lot of the big animators like Glenn Keane, they all flocked to Pocahontas. And that was kind of the basket that Disney was putting all of its eggs in.
Yeah.
Like, especially because they both started production in 1991, so Beauty and the Beast would have just gotten its Oscar nomination for Best Picture, the first animated movie to do so. So at the studio, there was kind of the thought that, you know, maybe Pocahontas can be, you know, our next nominee or winner, you know? Which didn't happen, obviously.
No.
Yeah, and they tried a little bit too hard.
A little too hard.
Bit. Which, I mean, you say that, but I could argue that they didn't try much at all.
Well, like, the animation in that movie is brilliant.
It's true, yeah.
Credit where it's due.
Okay, I'll be nice. So a lot of cool animators on this project, though. Like Mark Henn was the supervising animator for Young Simba, and he was lead animator on Ariel and Jasmine. Mm-hmm. Scar animated by Andreas Deja, who is, I mean, I guess he's your go-to for villains. He also animated Gaston and Jafar. Later Hercules, Lilo, Mama Odie, so he's great.
Yeah, he was trained by Mark Davis, who animated Maleficent and a lot of Disney's most famous villains. So he has that same kind of like regal villain thing going on.
I can definitely see
He
that.
almost animated Yzma, but that didn't happen.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Oh, that's the movie that Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff were supposed to direct next. They were going to direct Kingdom of the Sun.
That's right.
And when that project fell apart, that is when they stopped being a team.
That's right.
We could definitely make an episode about the whole Kingdom of the Sun thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Sweatbox.
Yeah. Adult Simba animated by Ruben A. Aquino, who animated the brilliant Ursula and Maurice as well. And Rafiki animated by just the god of animation, James Baxter. James Baxter. Yeah.
He knows exactly what to say to make you feel happy.
James Baxter.
Yeah. Who, again, would go on to work at DreamWorks and later animate on The Prince of Egypt and Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, and is one of the big reasons why those early DreamWorks 2D animated movies were so gorgeous.
They were great.
Yeah, definitely. The Lion King. Everyone knows the opening to The Lion King. It opens with that sunrise and the shout by Lebo M with that Hans Zimmer score.
Na Wakanda forever.
By the way, the translation of that is actually like, I will do this.
Lion.
This is yes. If we were singing it in English, it would be "Here comes a lion, father. Oh yes, it's a lion. It's a lion." Yeah.
What's on the menu?
We'll talk about the sequels a bit. But yeah, that Hans Zimmer score, that bombastic, epic opening, everyone knows it.
God, the score of this movie is gorgeous.
So good.
And I gotta, for a hot second here, I just gotta plug, if you want to watch this movie at home, which, I mean, I guess that's your only option, I highly recommend the Platinum Edition DVD. It's got this fantastic surround sound mix if you have a surround sound system. There's so much atmospheric sound, and the music really blasts you. Like, that's probably my favorite home release version, and I should say that I own literally every home release version of this movie, including the Laserdiscs.
I
don't even have
that.
a Laserdisc player. Yeah, just that sound mix, so good.
This movie is an epic spectacle in every way. You have to just immerse yourself in it and get lost in the beautiful backgrounds, the African theme, and the music. Ugh.
I am so happy that this movie, so it came out in 1994. It got its IMAX re-release in 2003, I want to say.
2003,
and
2004.
2003, 2004. And then it got a more recent, I think it was the 20th anniversary re-release, which was a 3D release, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the IMAX release, unfortunately. There's no IMAXs in my area. But I did get to see the... I suppose it would have been a 2014 release, and I was so happy to be able to see this movie in theaters again. If you get the opportunity, you can't miss it.
I did see the IMAX version. I actually think that, Disney films in IMAX is actually a little bit much, just because it makes the picture so big that, it's hard to focus on stuff, and just the single color thing, just the blotches of color with the animation, it's kind of hard in IMAX.
I can see that, yeah.
I would totally watch a movie like Fantasia in IMAX, but
I
don't know about The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. I did watch those in IMAX, and I kind of prefer just the normal theater. But yeah, normal theater, 100%.
Absolutely. If you ever get the opportunity, take it.
Seeing Lion King in 3D was a little weird, because,
it wasn't made for it.
No, it was, the perspective, too. It was, the characters are sort of brought to the front, and you can tell they're very, very 2D, and then... the backgrounds are very detailed and very good, but it's just that it's getting past the characters are really 2D and flat.
That was a thing for a while, but
if given the choice, I would definitely have preferred to have seen it in 2D, but the 3D didn't really bother me.
It's a thing that they did. That's about all I can say about it.
It was.
That was a thing that happened.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad. I liked it, but at the same time.
So we were talking about the opening, the Circle of Life. And, I mean, everyone knows this scene. It's been parodied a billion times, where all the animals of the kingdom gather to the foot of Pride Rock, and the shaman Rafiki holds up the new Prince Simba, and it's fantastic.
To be somewhat topical and to somewhat date it, there is a scene in Teen Titans Go that is a parody of that.
There's scenes in Animaniacs, there's scenes in everything that parody things.
There's even parody scenes in other Disney movies. Chicken Little.
No. Oh, Chicken Little. We'll talk about you.
Yeah, and actually you talked about, playing out the Scar scene. Well, this was the opening scene that we always did, because back in the day, Disney songs actually hit the pop charts. And so, we actually heard the theatrical version of The Circle of Life on pop radio. And we had just come back from a field trip, and we got these little boo-boo bunnies. They're these little bunny things that you put ice cubes in. And we held up our boo-boo bunnies like Rafiki holding up Simba when the song came on.
The circle of life. And it moves us so.
We're gonna recite the whole movie if we keep going, since all of us.
Let's talk about that Elton John Tim Rice combo.
It's a good combo.
Tim Rice is a great lyricist. Elton John is Elton John. How can you go wrong?
Yeah, really. This movie has 5 songs in it. It's a musical. And each song, I'd say, memorable, fantastic.
Yeah. It's funny. I love this. It's probably common knowledge, but, when he was making Hakuna Matata, Elton John was this is the low point in my career.
Hakuna Matata's fun. I love Hakuna Matata.
But, it's a fun, catchy number that Elton John is really good at.
And everyone knows it.
I will say that I liked the songs more when I was young. As an adult, I've kind of move more to the side of liking the Alan Menken stuff, especially Alan Menken, Howard Ashman stuff. Holy smokes. But,
absolutely.
Yeah, this is still good.
Yeah. And when you really think about it, probably more than any other Disney movie, every song from this movie has permeated our culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
To the point where when they said that Be Prepared was not gonna be in the remake, like, everyone was up in arms.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You had them singing Gaston in the Beauty and the Beast remake and doing it bad, and you don't even have Be Prepared. I mean, they did it fine.
Speaking of the songs, though, if you've never heard the Broadway soundtrack or had the privilege of seeing the Broadway version, the songs in that as well, they take some of the scores from the movie and turn them into songs, and Scar gets another song, and all the songs, so good. Yeah. And I finally get to see the Broadway play My Childhood Dream in a few months here, and I'm so excited.
Hooray!
Hopefully.
The cool thing that the Broadway show does is that it retains the atmosphere from the movie through song and dance. So it uses like African dance and African singing styles to really set the tone. There's like these interludes between the scenes that is just like the crew doing the African dances and singing, and it's great. 100%.
Yeah.
Hasadiga Ibawai.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Don't Google that, kids.
But yeah, this score, like, in addition to the actual soundtrack, they made another soundtrack called Rhythm of the Pride Lands that that came out with Lebo M, who is the one that sings the Nan Singoinia thing, doing like songs inspired by the work on The Lion King. And there was actually some songs that came back in the sequel and eventually the Broadway show because of that.
Yeah. He Lives in You being like the big one that came from the Broadway show and made its way into the sequel as the opening number.
You know, I just made the connection that He Lives in You is a thing that Rafiki says, and that's why it's in there.
Yes.
That's a startling revelation found live on this podcast.
Oh, you'll see it all when we watch the Broadway show. So, the music, brilliant. The opening scene, brilliant. Simba, adorable.
Little baby Simba, and he purrs and I just want to squeeze him. Yes, I had a plush Simba, and it was my favorite toy when I was like 10.
I had several plush Simbas, and I still do. They're in my room on a shelf.
I had one, and like there was a huge hole in his butt. So I took some Band-Aids and I just plugged up his butt.
Good. That's how you do it.
Yep.
My 10th or 11th birthday party, I had a Mufasa birthday cake.
Whoa. Nice. Man, I had a Lion King piggy bank. I had a bunch of little Lion King figures. I'm pretty sure I had Lion King bedding. My aforementioned baby brother, you know that thing. He had, Lion King pajamas. And I played the Lion King every day.
We're totally not biased 90s kids.
No.
Yeah.
No.
When I was little, I used to have really, really long hair, and I would wear it out, and that was my mane. And if Mom was combing up my hair, you're messing up my mane.
Mom, you're messing up my mane.
Yeah.
I'm Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Except for when I'm singing.
Yeah. Jason Weaver, I think.
Yeah.
Is his singing voice? Yeah. And not just little cubby Simba, who is so adorable you want to cry. Simba as, a kid. He's a squishy little cub. And and some of the other characters, Mufasa, king of the Pride Lands.
James Earl Jones.
Dad, in, the
best dad ever.
Role. Yeah. He's so cool.
Yeah.
The character design in this movie, they're all lions, right? Everyone's a lion. Mm-hmm. All the lions are, at least. But they do a good job of making everyone very distinct. Mufasa is very regal. He has that big chin and big chest and his huge mane, and he looks very proud. And then you have Scar, color palette aside, who's very, slinking and sinister looking.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder who's the villain. And Simba, particularly when we see him as an adult, he has elements of Mufasa's design, but he's very much his own. And then you got his mother, the queen, Sarabi, and she's gorgeous. She just looks beautiful. And...
Yeah, that's the thing about all the lionesses. They, lionesses look pretty much the same, but you can pick apart who's who in this movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mainly because it's only Nala and Sarabi, but still.
Yeah, and Sarafina, Nala's mother, Sarafina.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has a name.
She had one line.
What do you think, Sarabi?
Yeah. Well, please. Here we go again. We're going to just recite the movie if we keep
As long as Mr. Bean goes with you. No, not Mr. Bean.
Oh, yeah. A lot of good casting in this movie. Besides James Earl Jones, you got Jeremy Irons as Scar, and he's brilliant. And apparently some other considerations for Scar were, like, Malcolm McDowell and Tim Curry. And, like, you almost weep because they would have been so good, but Jeremy Irons is also so good.
Yeah.
Like, Scar is an iconic Disney villain.
Yeah, like, that is the character animation-wise that I just want to gush over the most, because the way that Andrea Stasia did, like, Scar is like a sarcastic villain. It's like he's not openly hostile, but you can see that there is resentment, and you can see that there's, like, you know, it's in the way that he, like, responds to everything with, like, dismissive sarcasm.
Yeah, and just the way he carries himself is very good. So we had the next musical number after Circle of Life would be I Just Can't Wait to Be King, which is a really fun, colorful scene. Like, as soon as the song starts, the whole art style changes to very, I suppose, African-inspired. It's very colorful, very angular.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I just can't wait for Dad to die.
No! That's how monarchy works, kids.
I can't take credit for that.
But yeah, like, Disney does do this a lot, where when they have certain songs, they completely change art styles, and I am all for them doing that more. Like, especially in The Princess and the Frog. Gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, like, you know what? That's one of the things that animation just has over live action. You can't do this in live action.
Well, you could, but it, like, is a lot more expensive.
No, you can't. You can't. Shush, you can't. Like, the animation is just limitless.
Yeah.
You can take things... This is, like, I don't want to totally, like, rip off the nostalgia critic, but one of the things he said about why, like, with Disney animation, you can do things that they make emotional sense, even if they don't make logical sense. And you can take,
sure,
like, you can expand on it emotionally. You can make things that are more beautiful than they would be in real life. You can make things that are more abstract. You can do whatever you want to fit the mood.
Totally.
For sure. Like, in this case, during I Just Can't Wait to Be King, it's Simba being excited about his future, and it's colorful, it's bright, it's explosive almost.
Oh, totally.
And then there's the hyenas in the elephant graveyard. Ooh.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
And, Cheech Marin, that's his name.
Yeah, and Jim Cummings. You know what's neat about hyenas is they are matriarchal, so...
oh, yeah, that's why Shenzi is the leader, huh?
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg as Shenzi. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, when I was playing The Lion King when I was like 10, all my friends wanted to be Ed because he was funny. Which is funny because they would spend the entire time we were playing just going, you know.
Like Jim Cummings doing a Joker impression.
Yeah. Ooh, we got to talk about what else Jim Cummings does once we get to that point. But the elephant graveyard scene, Simba and his friend and betrothed, Nala, you know, they wander off to that shadowy place they're not supposed to go to, the forbidden elephant graveyard. Ooh.
The elephant graveyard. That, like, such good atmosphere in this movie.
For sure, yeah. I like how they kind of do these establishing shots throughout, like early on where you just kind of get these beautiful shots of the African savannah and it's like raining. And it serves no other purpose than to just kind of set the tone and set the atmosphere.
Yeah, this is one of the few times that Disney did that. Like, Disney, especially recently, is not known for that type of thing. They tie everything into the story, but no. Like, in The Lion King, they just had shots that were completely to move from one scene to another, where it's raining on the African savannah, or they're following the animals, and now they're at Rafiki's place. And it's almost like Miyazakian in its grandeur. And, like... They did this in, like, Bambi back in the day, but it is not a common thing.
No. Like, this is really a love letter to, like, Africa and its nature and its flora, its fauna. Like, in that sense. Because there's no other reason to have those shots other than to say, look how pretty this is.
Which is a great thing. Like, I mean... Disney always sends their animators out to the actual locations that they're filming, so that is why a lot of times there's a lot of love put into the eventual movie is because the people have visited this place, and, you know, a lot of times they fall in love with it, and you can see that love of the setting and the intricate details of it through their animation.
Mm-hmm. Especially in this movie where they take the time to just appreciate it.
Which, if we're going to talk about Pocahontas, it's another thing. It's like, there's not really a real location. It's like Jamestown with its 500-foot cliffs.
Yeah.
So the elephant graveyard scene where the little cubbies get harassed by the hyenas, but Mufasa, coolest lion dad of all time, swoops in to save them, and they get away. But, oh, what's this? Uncle Scar looming overhead. What's that about?
Oh, no.
I guess we'll never know. So then we cut back to the Great Kings of the Past scene, where Mufasa kind of gives Simba, you know,
a razin.
No, it's a nice little father-son talk where Mufasa admits, like I was afraid I was going to lose you, and it's a very touching moment.
Relatable.
He admits that he's human, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I feel like all kids can relate to that, where we screwed up badly and we're like, oh my gosh, we're in so much trouble, and our parents are just like, I could have lost you, and you know that.
I could have lost you, dummy.
This movie seems, I think that's one of the reasons why I like this movie so much. It seems to understand the kid perspective a lot.
Yeah. And like, when they go into talking about the great kings of the past, and Simba's like, we're pals, Dad, we'll always be together, right? Like, Mufasa doesn't answer him. He just sort of gives him like a, you know, like, he sort of kind of preps him for, I'm gonna die one day, son, and I want you to be prepared. Be prepared, huh? Anyway.
Because what he asks is, we'll always be together, right? And well, no.
But he doesn't like want to be like blunt about it. He wants to tell him.
He doesn't want to be blunt. But he doesn't want to like, oh yeah, of course, you know.
He's like, I'm gonna tell you the middle ground. Like, I will always be with you, but not in like a, you know, literal sense.
It's such a sweet scene.
Yeah.
Really endears you to Mufasa and Simba's father-son relationship.
Yeah, like,
hope nothing bad happens.
Yeah, anytime you see like videos of like little puppies or whatever playing with their like parents, it's like you see comments like, "Oh, it's like Simba playing with Mufasa."
Aww.
Like, I see that in every YouTube video with babies playing with their dads.
No. Yeah, it is worth mentioning that a lot of people kind of like stereotype Disney as being like the cute talking animals studio. This was only their second movie after Bambi that starred an all-animal cast.
Yeah. Well, that's not true, counting Robin Hood, which was
like actual animals, not like anthropomorphized animals.
Non-anthropomorphized. Another part in the scene, it starts with the sunset and like it ends at night, and I never really thought about that. Like, the transition is so seamless. Like, I never really registered it until I thought about it just now.
It's like a little past sunset where like there's still a little light out, but it's really like pinkish.
Yeah.
Like dark pinkish, and then like it slowly just goes to night. And look, the stars are out.
A very nice color palettes in this movie.
Yeah, all the kings are out watching us.
Yeah, you can see Mickey Mouse's silhouette in the stars.
Yeah.
The kings aren't the only ones watching.
Aha!
No, there he is, and there's the group of hunters running away from his stench.
Yeah, so our next scene would be the Be Prepared scene, the villain song.
Oh.
And one of the most iconic villain songs, where it is revealed that all along Uncle Scar was
the bad guy.
What?
Gasp!
Yeah.
A British guy is the villain? Get out.
A British angular slinky guy is the villain? What? No. This song, though, you all know this song. It's Be Prepared.
Yeah.
What can be said? It's
Hitler hyenas.
Oh no. You know, this scene too, not to the degree of Just Can't Wait to Be King, but it kind of, you know, pushes reality a little bit too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is another one of those songs where it's like it could be very goofy, but they just go with it, and it's emotionally satisfying, even if it doesn't necessarily make logical sense.
Yeah, like the geysers and the color scheme, and then like it goes from green to like yellow and then red.
Guys, there's a volcano erupting behind us. Guys!
Guys!
No, it's fine. Those African volcanoes. So, yeah, the song performed by Jeremy Irons, from start to finish, as far as you know.
As far as you know.
I never knew until
I didn't know
later.
either. Yeah, until you know. Hey, what the heck are we talking about? Our listeners are asking. Yeah, no, you didn't.
I did.
Jeremy Irons blows out his vocal cords at one point, and Jim Cummings actually takes over. And once you know, you can kind of hear it, but it's pretty seamless. Does a pretty good impression.
Yeah, totally.
Because Jim Cummings is a voice acting god.
Yeah.
He actually had to do a couple of the singing voices in the sister project Pocahontas as well.
Oh, totally.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So be prepared, where Scar reveals his plot to
Yes, and the terrible goose-stepping hyenas.
Yes.
Also a lot of like passive aggressive, like calling his underlings stupid.
Yeah.
Your powers of retention are as wet as a warthog's backside.
It tells me
burn.
Goose-stepping hyenas like yourself should try reading books instead of burning them.
The thing about hyenas in nature, though, they kind of, when it comes to the lion-hyena feud, it's kind of the reverse of what this movie portrays.
Yeah.
We don't have to go for accuracy, though, because the next scene is in the gorge.
In the gorge. Simba's down there.
Yes. So we're going to get a little spoilery from this point on. You've seen the movie, but, just for anyone who hasn't.
Don't even lie.
Yeah. So Scar leads Simba down into this huge gorge and just kind of plants him on a little tree. Says, wait here, I'm going to go get your dad. Just practice your little roar. And Simba practices his cute little roar. He roars really loud.
You might want to work on that little roar of yours. Oh, okay. Little roar.
Yeah. So he's roaring, and he roars really loud, and there's this echo. Little does he know, though, at the top of the gorge, the hyenas are hassling a herd of wildebeests, which are these big bull kind of creatures, and they come running down the side of the gorge. Simba,
an amazing shot.
Can we talk about how freaking gorgeous this shot is? Holy
an amazing
crap.
Shot. Like, just the hyenas coming down.
Oh, the music, the build-up.
The music, and then, like, the zoom in on Simba's face, and he goes dark, and then, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, one of the big reasons to see this movie in theaters, if you can, is this scene.
Oh, totally.
Wow.
Ugh, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah. At Disney, they had started rolling out the CAP system. Like, The Rescuers Down Under was the first of their movies to do it, and it also was able to create these big spaces with the CAP system and the digital processing. Beauty and the Beast did some fully rendered 3D, specifically in the ballroom scene. Aladdin didn't use it as much. In this movie, it was just the doors were blown off. They went full stop with the giant CG crowd shots and the sweeping camera motion, and it is used to epic effect.
And, think about it, too. This being in development between 91 and 94, that shot is still impressive. The effect, the crowd shot, the collision detection, everything about it, from a technical standpoint, is fantastic. Even right down to, when they were rendering the wildebeest, they made sure to kind of switch up the color palettes a little bit, just so it wasn't a clone of the same creature over and over. Yeah,
I don't understand why this crowd shot looks so, non-stereotypical CG, but when you watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's just blatantly obvious that it's CG.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so blatantly obvious. Look, I can't do 3D rendering. I could do a better crowd shot than what they did in Hunchback. What was that?
Yeah. Well,
so
the rest of that movie is gorgeous, though. It's just the crowd shots that are distracting.
Yeah.
So bad. Sorry to ruin the movie for everyone who never noticed the crowd shots before. You're never going to be able to watch it again.
It's like the same 4 people scattered throughout the entire crowd. It's pretty obvious.
And they're just kind of hopping up and down. It's hilarious.
Shaking their arms yeah.
How did this scene, a quarter of a century old, still holds up perfectly?
It looks great to this day.
I think it's because they didn't kind of, how do I want to phrase this? They didn't try to do more than they were capable of, which is still impressive because I'm surprised they were capable of this at the time. But it's all cell shaded. It looks, if you didn't know better, you might think maybe parts of it were hand drawn. It doesn't have that CGI look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also the direction is a big part of it.
Right.
They use angles very effectively in this scene. Like the way that they start low and look and slowly pan up, and like the fast zoom into Simba's shocked face, and like it's a very dynamic shot, and it's an action shot where a bunch of stuff is happening, so it's not like in Hunchback where it's just a slow pan out where you're looking at these CG characters for like 20 seconds straight.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
chaotic and it's wild and
just one of the best scenes in film. I'm gonna say it's one of the best scenes in film.
Totally.
I agree. Good God, it's like breathtaking.
Yeah, and then it gets followed up by the saddest scene in film.
Yes, Mufasa jumps down the gorge to save his son, but unfortunately, he is betrayed by his brother, who...
I thought he was a good guy.
Yeah. We're all so disappointed. Yeah, Mufasa rescues Simba, and he tries to climb out of the gorge, but Scar throws him off, tragically, to his death.
Yeah.
And you have this devastating scene. Simba goes down into the gorge after the stampede is over to look for him, and he finds him, and he just doesn't want to believe he's dead. No, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's like if Bambi actually found his mom.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, we talked about the old Disney movies being dark. None of them went, like...
there.
I wouldn't say that this movie is darker than those, because it doesn't have the same grotesque, frightening imagery, but... Bambi did not have the actual body of the dead parent and the small child trying to revive them. Like, this is so... My God.
Yeah. And
then his cries for help, and it's so, like, anguished. Like, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, people make fun of him a lot, but, like, he's really good out of the park.
Yeah.
It's just misogyny, because JTT was the hotness in the 90s. And, anything that teenage girls like, everyone has to hate.
For sure. And then old Uncle Scar comes down just to rub salt in the wound. He pins the blame for Mufasa's death onto Simba, which is... That's so...
curse word.
It's so dirty, because he's a little kid, and, like, he believes it. And he takes it to heart. So when Scar says, you gotta leave, no one will ever forgive you, you have to run away, he does.
Yes. Chased, pursued, off stage by hyenas.
Yeah. And Scar returns to Pride Rock, where where the Pride of the group of lions are. And he tells them that both Mufasa and Simba died. And Scar takes over at this point with his band of hyenas. And things are about to go downhill. But before that happens... we cut back to Simba in the desert. And who should we meet but our comic relief?
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Yes. Here we meet the meerkat Timon, played by Nathan Lane, and the warthog Pumbaa, played by Ernie Sabella. Both brilliantly cast.
Yeah. So much so that I think a large part of Matthew Broderick, who played adult Simba, and Nathan Lane's casting in the Broadway version of The Producers was because of this movie.
Yeah. So they're our comic relief, and I like them. I know some people find them annoying, and actually,
I think some levity after that heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I actually think, as an adult, I think the hyenas are funnier. But
a little bit, yeah.
Timon and Pumbaa, very good.
Like Nathan Lane and Ernie, what's his face?
Sabella.
Their chemistry is really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I do think that they have, like, they have kind of like the sassy, almost gay couple thing going on, which,
Simba's two dads.
Which, why not?
Yeah. And we get our next musical number, Hakuna Matata.
Apparently
Elton
John's low point.
Yeah. Oh, this is a fun song. It's just about telling Simba, like, forget your responsibilities and just, Hakuna Matata. It means no worries.
No worries. Yeah. It's sort of the point where Simba kind of mistakes no worries for just forget about all the problems you've had and just pretend they didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It means no worries.
For the rest of your days.
Yeah, say it, kid.
Hakuna Matata. Okay.
Yeah. And this is where we get the transition from young little cubby Simba into adult Simba.
To adult man.
Yeah. He grows up in the jungle with his two dads.
He grows up into Matthew Broderick and also the lead singer from Toto.
Yeah, living his carefree lifestyle, eating bugs. How did they make bugs look tasty in this movie,
they made it look so tasty.
Like, okay, maggots and worms really disgust me, but that big grub that Simba just slurps up, something about it looks delicious.
It looks juicy. I wish, did they make, like, little gummy bugs or whatever after this movie?
I guarantee they did, but
surely
nothing could ever capture how
it looks so good.
And like, I shouldn't say like this, the sound of Timon like crunching the bugs, but like that should be gross, but so tasty.
That's some ASMR stuff.
Yes. And then so Simba's living his carefree life. We cut back to the Pride Lands, which have just gone to hell in a handbasket under Scar. Everything's dead, everything's destroyed.
There's no food, no water.
So things aren't going super well. So when we cut back to the jungle, Pumbaa is harassed by this lioness who turns out to be Simba's childhood friend and betrothed, Nala, who had come to seek help because just under Scar, everything's
it's
ruined.
Destroyed. There's no food, no water.
And Simba shirks his responsibilities. Like, he's the king. Like, this is his destiny. But he's like, no, I live out here now.
No, Hakuna Matata.
He's not divulging to Nala that, because Simba still believes that he's responsible for Mufasa's death at this point, so that's kind of what he's running away from. He doesn't want to face that.
Yeah.
So they have, and like this is where we get the love song, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Yeah. Was this
I
the
actually
one that
kind of prefer the Elton John version to the movie version.
Which one won the Oscar? Was it Circle of Life?
Good question.
To Wikipedia!
I want to say it's Feel the Love Tonight. Oh, Lord. Because...
No, it was Can You Feel the Love Tonight.
Yeah.
But Circle of Life and...
I can feel it coming in the air. All right.
It was Can You Feel the Love Tonight, officially.
Yeah.
Although three songs from this movie were nominated for Best Song.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Hakuna Matata was nominated for Best Song.
Yeah. It's catchy.
And you gotta be careful with that, like, to put 3 of your songs up for nominee, because that can, like, break up the vote, but they still went out.
Yeah. Yeah. Be Prepared was not nominated. Shame.
Yeah. So, Simba and Nala fall in love, but, like, he still refuses to go back, and Nala can't talk any sense into him. But Rafiki can. So, Rafiki, the aforementioned shaman, he's a bamboo or mandrill. He's a little bit of both. He's been this really mysterious figure up to this point, but he comes in and he's really silly, and he kind of talks Simba into, oh, follow me to this place, because you can talk to your father, but, oh, my father's dead, but I'm explaining this badly, but, so he takes him to this pool of water, and Simba sees his reflection, and he's like, oh, that's not my father, you dumb monkey. But no, he lives in you. And Simba has this vision where the cloud... Everyone knows this scene. This is another scene that's parodied to heck and back. Where the clouds form in Mufasa's image, and he gives him some words.
Some words.
Some words. Like, remember who you are, which I guess would be the big theme of the movie. Like, take responsibility for your
take responsibility.
Destiny.
Do it. And then in every version, like every other home release version, the clouds are like gone.
Yeah, it's that started with the 3D release, I think. I believe they're still there on the Platinum Edition. I think the closest you're ever going to get to the original theatrical version from all the home releases would be the Laserdisc version, because it would be letterboxed, widescreened, and would have all the original animation intact.
Yeah.
That's kind of a whole thing with Disney updating and tweaking their animation with re-releases, which... I think we should maybe save that discussion for...
Totally. There's a lot
maybe...
My nostalgia says don't change anything. Everything has to stay the same!
Have you seen what they did to Sword in the Stone? We should talk about Sword in the Stone just to talk about this.
They did something to Sword in the Stone?
Oh, we'll talk about that. I'll show you after. Okay. But yeah, back to Lion King. So Simba accepts his destiny, and he heads back to Pride Rock, where... we haven't really talked about his mother, Sarabi, except that she's got this very regal design. So, like, Scar calls to her, and, like, I love this scene with her, because, like, think about all she's been through. Her husband died, her son dead as far as she knows, her kingdom lost, but she still holds herself with dignity. She's a queen. She's a hashtag queen.
The hyenas nip at her heels, but she's just, like, eyeing them.
Yeah. And Scar, like, chews her out for not being able to find any food, and she's like, I mean, it's his fault. He let the kingdom go to...
Wrong.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Nope.
Somebody talked about how this movie is kind of like a conservative type story where something about the world itself is out of balance, and the movie is about restoring what was like good and perfect, where like a more liberal story would be like the world itself changes and has to get better. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
It is an interesting dynamic there.
Politics.
Yeah.
We don't want to get into
we're not going to open that can of worms on this podcast, probably. No.
Oh, and also I just want to say, because some people might have expected us to talk about it, I don't really want to get too much into the controversies around this movie, like the whole Kimba thing. I'm not familiar enough with Kimba to really talk about that. What do you guys think?
Nah.
It's like
I don't know much about it either.
There's some similarities from what I've seen. I didn't watch Kimba, but honestly, I don't care. Like, artists always take inspiration from each other. And, you know, it's not necessarily a ripoff so much as, like, there's a reason why movies with the same theme and the same thing tend to come out in bunches, like 2 Ant movies, or, you know, it's because...
Well, there might be another reason for that.
Well, okay, aside from DreamWorks deliberately trying to steal Disney's thunder, but in general, a lot of times movies come out in bunches, and it's just because people get inspired to do their own thing by watching things. Like, we like to pretend that we come up with our own original ideas, but a lot of the stuff that we come up with is because we saw this thing and it's like, ooh, this would be good in that, and then we start developing our own story. So even if there is a similarity, whatever, I'm fine with that. The Lion King is its own thing, and it is gorgeous, and it is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the point where Simba, like, returns to the Pride Lands, and he's ready to face Scar, and, like, Scar forces him to tell everyone, he's the one who killed Mufasa. But then here Simba finds out the truth. No, it was Scar who killed him, and this is where the big final battle begins between Simba's lionesses and Scar's hyenas. So this is a big epic final battle. The Pride Rock, it's all on fire. The lionesses, the hyenas, Timon and Pumbaa, Zazu, Rafiki, everyone's involved. And Simba and Scar make it to the top of Pride Rock, where they have their final showdown.
Like, it's a really epic fight.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one of my favorite things about the world they had for Lion King and Kingdom Hearts 2 was, I'm gonna fight Scar on the big mountain, and it's not on fire because PS2 limitations, but it's still pretty epic.
Oh yeah, I used to play the Super Nintendo game all the time, and I could never actually beat... there's a volcano level for some reason. There's no volcano in this movie, but I never did get to the fight with Scar until I was much older, and it's a...
Yeah, that level is impossibly difficult.
Yeah,
I saw my friends try to play it, and
like, the last 3 levels of that game go hard, but I did eventually get to beat it, and it's cool to be able to live that fight, because it is an epic fight. It's so epic, they do some slow-mo here, and I remember being a little kid and, like, not understanding slow motion, so I had no idea what was going on.
They're just, like, attacking each other incredibly slowly.
Yes.
It is really cool, some of the visual effects that they do, where, like, they kind of do, like, a tail effect where it's not only slow motion, but, like, jerky, so that, you know.
Yeah. I wonder what this looks like actually sped up to regular speed, rather. I've never...
It's a very short fight if you speed it up to, like, regular. Yeah. But it's pretty accurate to, like, how lions fight, I guess.
Yeah, just slapping each other.
And
yeah, like,
biting.
Really the entire fight is, like... One hit to the face, another hit to the face, bam, down, bam, gone.
Kicked off the mountain. Kicked off the rock.
Yeah, there's that last moment of Scar just groveling for his life, and...
Yeah,
such a weenie.
Up to this point, he's readily admitted that he's not a fighter, so, like, seeing him actually hold his own against Simba and almost kill him was pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, a good climax, I have to say. A good final battle.
Yeah, and also, like, Disney continues their tradition of making heavy use of, like, the reds and the oranges for fun. They always find a way to do it.
Always.
In this one, it actually kind of makes logical sense because of the lightning strikes and the fire and...
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of times it's just, okay, I guess we are doing yellows and reds now. Like, in Tarzan, it was kind of off-putting to me because it's like,
it was very
wait,
blue.
Where are all these background colors coming from? But...
Like, for what scene?
The final battle scene. Like,
well, like, they shot a flare up.
Yeah, but a flare doesn't,
stay up
a flare doesn't
long.
really do that. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm just kind of thinking, it kind of bookends, too, with how the movie opens with the sunrise and it's very yellow and red. I wonder if that's intentional.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then, Scar is flung off Pride Rock. He survives, but...
Oh, well, before that, he sells out the hyenas.
That's true.
He tries to pin it all on them.
He's like, oh, the hyenas did it all. Their fault, not mine, man. I had your back.
Yeah. So when he's flung off the rock, things go very bad for him in one of the more hardcore Disney villain deaths.
Yeah, eaten alive.
Yeah.
Probably not even eaten alive, mauled.
Yeah, well, that kind of like compares to being impaled in the chest like Maleficent. Disney villains have some gruesome deaths.
Oh, like Clayton and what's his name from Oliver and Company?
Sykes,
yeah.
Mr. Sykes.
Oh, that one's rough.
Mr. F.
Yeah, pretty hardcore. And then, like, after Scar is vanquished,
immediately it starts raining.
The most epic soundtrack ever!
For sure, and, like, there's no dialogue during this scene to kind of let you appreciate it, and it's raining, and it's beautiful.
It is time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that little bit.
That.
And then...
I think that's the last line in the movie, apart from Remember.
Aside from the omnipotent Greek choir.
And also Zazu, I think, has a line that's, like, he has lip sync there, but he doesn't actually say anything.
Oh, that's funny.
Which is kind of silly.
You don't get to talk.
Yeah.
Blackadder.
Aw. But, it's raining, and it's epic, and you can see life coming back to the Pride Lands as Simba takes his place in the circle of life atop Pride Rock.
It makes more sense than, like, going back to the whole Reds and stuff for the climax, like in Hunchback, where it makes sense because, like, lava or fire was poured onto the streets, but then, like, 5 minutes later, all of the fire is gone.
True.
Like, what? There was no rain. There was no convenient rain to get rid of all that. Anyway.
No. I guess that's kind of symbolic, too. Like, now that the evil is gone, life will come back.
The evil is defeated.
There is something that I want to talk about, which is this movie, like, it talks about the circle of life, and kind of just like Bambi. It's like,
Bambi.
Love is a song that never ends, one simple theme repeating. It is a movie that goes in a circle, and both of these movies, which again, this was the first, like, all-animal cast since Bambi, they actually share a lot thematically. You have, like... It opens with the birth of the young prince, and then, it cycles back around to the birth of the next in line. And again, it's like, it follows that natural cycle, and
then Bambi's like, those kids won't surpass me, becomes evil. That's Bambi too.
Oh my goodness. I actually have this little book here that came with the special edition DVD where they talk a little bit about the production and such. It's kind of a production journal, and there is a note in here about Bambi. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, they often compare this to, like, Bambi meets Hamlet in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll find the note.
Plot summary: Hamlet with lions.
It's Bambi meets Africa. I don't know. I tried to do Toto. I had failed.
So yes, as Carrie said, it ends with our Disney couple setting up for a sequel, which is kind of interesting because they.
Yeah, that is an interesting movie to talk about. Like, it is kind of fanficky, but I liked it a lot when I was like 13.
Same.
I do too. I remember. I think I would have been maybe 7 or 8 when it came out, and I remember seeing the preview in front of, I want to say The Lady and the Tramp VHS or something.
I think so, yeah.
And losing my god-dang mind. I was so excited.
Back before we lost all faith in Disney sequels, there was still hope. At this point, there was only The Return of Jafar, and now The Lion, and, like,
and King of Thieves.
Too, I think. Yes, and King of Thieves. And then it's like, oh my god, they're making a sequel to The Lion King, the best movie ever, my favorite thing, my passion, my love.
And honestly, the quality of that movie's not bad at all.
Nah.
Like, from a technical standpoint, some sequels are,
Compared to a lot of the other Disney sequels, it did look very pretty, and it, like, you can tell there was at least some effort put into it.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Got most of the cast back and everything.
No Mr. Bean, though.
No Mr. Bean. And then there's the more recent follow-up, The Lion Guard, which is a cute little kid show. Yeah. I haven't watched much of it. I've seen a bit. The animation for that's very pretty as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's alright.
The only thing I've seen of it is the, like, Sisi Nasawa We're All the Same song on YouTube, which was cute.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a huge thing going on where, like, Scar's ghost is hanging around or whatever, and, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That kid's probably gonna be dead because he's not in Lion King 2 or something.
Oh, shush. It's cute though. Disney shows lately, like the Tangled series as well, and we definitely have to talk about Tangled.
Yes, we must.
Yes, they're definitely putting some nice effort into it, which I appreciate.
I agree.
Yeah, also, there was The Lion King 1.5, which basically, like, hey, let's insert Timon and Pumbaa into every scene in the first movie.
I like that movie.
It's Guildenstern and Rosencrantz are dead.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Some people feel bitter towards it, but I think it's silly. Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
And then there was the Timon and Pumbaa show.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch
back in the 90s.
Show a lot.
I loved that show, even though, like, looking at it as an adult, it was just kind of a silly kid show. But
yeah.
it was perfectly acceptable as a nice little fun diversion and, like, complete non sequitur. Like, it kind of had nothing to do with the movie.
No.
Like,
they're, like,
completely had nothing to do with the movie.
Humans and...
Yeah, like, okay, now Timon and Pumbaa are in the Yukon looking for bottle caps and gold nuggets? What?
Why the heck not?
They have, like, a salsa that's made of bugs that they, like, get rich off of. And go on Oprah.
Like, and Rafiki would have segments, and Zazu and the hyenas. This is like just a little something for the side characters just to have fun. Yeah. I liked it.
They also had a classic cover of Stand By Me.
That's true.
Oh, yes. Actually, I think they included that in the DVD release or the VHS release of one of the Disney movies in, like, the late 90s.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I remember it
from.
It's
one of them, but I don't remember which one it was. I think Movie, maybe?
I never had that, so... It might have been on more than one, of course.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they had
it on
I just remember
seeing the commercial.
Yeah, they had it on a sing-along tape, too.
So I guess the other thing to talk about in regards to spin-offs would be the upcoming live-action movie, which, unfortunately, there's not a lot of info on it yet. We have a cast, we have a director, we have a release date.
There is a lot of info on it. It came out this February. It was really good.
The cast looks pretty epic.
Black Panther was really good, and it's the Lion King remake we deserve.
Yeah, it's true. I'm really excited to see something from this movie. It would be so hard to be pessimistic about it, but the cast is great. You've got Donald Glover as Simba, Beyonce as Nala. I really like Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. I think that's going to be fun.
Hey, Timon!
And John Oliver as Zazu.
That's
going to be good.
Inspired casting. He needs to sit behind like a desk and just rant for 30 minutes. That's like, I'd watch that.
The state of this lion.
Now, Scar is using his hyenas to practically make this a terrorist state. I don't know.
And James Earl Jones coming back as Mufasa. I see Eric Andre
Huzzah!
And Keegan-Michael Key as two new characters, which I don't know if they're new characters or they might be new names for the hyenas.
Yeah, I think
don't
they're
know
replacing
if that's...
the hyenas. Like,
maybe.
Bonsai and Ed.
Yeah. Because Bonsai and Ed aren't exactly... following the theme of the rest of the naming convention of the movie, so not sure, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Of course, we all know with the Disney live-action remakes, it's like they have to add things to make it different enough.
Different enough, quote unquote. Like,
yeah, it's like the same story, but they have to, make it more. They just have to do more to justify the remake.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that if it's done well. Like, Jon Favreau's the director, and I really liked his take on the Jungle Book.
Yeah, that was the best Disney remake so far.
Yeah, that movie was pretty awesome.
Like, they actually improved it. They actually improved upon the original in some ways, and that's good.
Yeah.
It's not
in some ways,
It's not like a fake improvement like in Cinderella or Maleficent.
Oh, don't get me started on Maleficent.
Maleficent was kind of a totally different thing, and also Maleficent is my favorite Disney villain of all time, so I kind of have a bias against that movie.
So thanks, Angelina Jolie.
Ugh.
Thank you very much.
She was fine.
I think she did her best.
She did her best.
With what she had.
But whatever.
No, it's just the writing was... They needed a better plot.
Yeah.
So frustrating. But, anything else to be said about The Lion King? I mean... so much to be said. It's such a great movie. I recommend it.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody that has not seen this movie, what are you doing with your life?
Like, I can't... who hasn't seen this movie, honestly? It's hard to imagine.
I mean, again, I'm not biased because I'm a 90s kid and I grew up with it. At all.
Same, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's the Frozen of the 1990s.
Oh yeah, that is an interesting thing. Is people compare this movie to Frozen now?
Yeah, and that it's not like totally overplayed, and some people might call it overhyped, but whatever. That's not me. That's not me, man.
Yeah, I don't ever remember The Lion King getting to the same levels of backlash that Frozen got.
Probably because of the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone's opinion is on display these days, so.
But yeah, like, in the 90s, this movie was everywhere for, like... And again, it is interesting to note, again, this movie was supposed to not be the more exciting of the two projects between this and Pocahontas, where Pocahontas just did, like, okay at the box office, where this, like, was considered the culmination of the Disney Renaissance.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, The Little Mermaid started it, and then it got bigger with Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, and then this was like, it just blew the doors off what was possible for box office numbers, and, you know, it was just a cultural phenomenon.
And Pocahontas was there.
Yes, it was. And if anyone's interested about that whole history, I've recommended it in another episode, but I will again recommend this documentary, Waking Sleeping Beauty. Documents what's going on in Disney between 1984 to 1994 when this was released. It gets into all of that, and it's good.
Yeah, and this was the movie that they finished it on, because this was when Frank Wells, which this movie was dedicated to Frank Wells, who tragically died right before its release. And,
yeah, he was the president of the Walt Disney Company at the time.
Yeah, and it was shortly after this that Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Eisner kind of had a falling out, started their own studio, and, you know, it's like DreamWorks started, and it just kind of wasn't the same at the studio since then, so this is kind of considered the high point, where, like, it was the last, like, Disney is all in on this, and the culmination of the Eisner-Katzenberg era of the studio.
Yeah.
For sure.
And now the only thing left to remind us that Pocahontas was a thing was the Pocahontas segment in Florida's Fantasmic.
Oh.
Okay.
No, legit. Look it up. Florida's Fantasmic show. It has like 10 minutes dedicated to Pocahontas. Still, to this day.
Huh, interesting.
That'd probably be cool, honestly, because I haven't been to the Florida park, but...
I've seen the Fantasmic there.
Yeah. I saw it at the California park, and it's pretty neat. I wonder if there's anything, if we can make an episode talking about the parks.
We could.
Maybe, yeah.
For sure. They did do a lot of original animation for the park rides and various things.
Yeah, true. Animatronics are animation.
A lot more song work, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, the Disney parks, like, I have an entire playlist of just, like, Sherman Brothers songs for the Disney parks.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Any last thoughts?
Slimy yet satisfying.
Absolutely.
It comes with a very pleasant crunch.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Here they are, standing in a row.
The lion sleeps tonight.
Oh, it ties in with the Disney theme parks. It's a small world after all.
No, anything but that.
Oh, yes. So I think we'll wrap it up here then. So thank you, Mitch McGraw, as always, for our delightful theme song. You can find him at Mitch D. McGraw, one word, on Twitter. My name is Becca McGraw. You can find my stuff at rebexorcist.com. I do art and a little bit of animation.
My name is Jason Knott. You can find my reviews of animated movies, live-action movies, TV series, and everything in between on my review blog on whatever reviews on blogger.com.
And I am Carrie Drebelo, YouTube's animation critic. You can find me at Animation Critic, all one word, on YouTube. Check out my anime reviews.
Do it, coward.
Wow, that's our sign-off. All right, Mitch, play us out.
Recording.
As am I.
Hey, someone's after me. I hear sirens. Alright, let's go.
My phone's ringing. I apologize.
Get out of here! Get out of here! No.
Okay, it's done.
That's going in.